Hello guys, welcome. In the last video we showed you guys how you can easily create a Next.js project, and now we're going to talk about the folder structure of our project. I have opened the YouTube test that we created in the last video. We now have 5 folders and 6 files that we're going to talk about. The package.json contains dependencies, scripts, and dev dependencies for our application. Dev dependencies is to help you debug and catch errors during coding. Dependencies is currently holding the current version of Next that we're using, also React and the React DOM. And this is here we're also going to add newer dependencies if we're going to install some. The script lets us do development, building, starting, and lint during production. For example, in the last video we used the dev script to run the application in the local environment. The package log.json ensures consistent installation of dependencies. So we're not really going to use this, like write code in it. The gitignore is if we're using GitHub, we can tell the push version of our applications to ignore some files to make the publicity of our application more secure. The Next.js, the next config.js is for the Next.js configuration file. In this we currently only have React strict mode and SVC minify, where we mostly care about this. I really recommend to keep it true because it helps identify unsafe life cycles and a lot more features that we just want to be set by default. The ESLint is the configuration for ESLint. It just declares the rules set by the Next.js team. We don't really have to worry about this file. Just keep in mind that it have to stay for it to run. We also have this README file, but we don't want to worry about this. It's just like really basics, how to start the development server and stuff like that. So for the folders, we have this next. It is created when we first run the application in development environment. It's just here to ensure that Next.js application is served and run correctly. We don't have to worry about this during development because by default it is ignored when we push the application. Also, the node modules is just holding our dependencies. We neither want to worry about this because by default it is also ignored when we push. The public folder holds all the images, videos, and whatever kind of content we want to store directly on the application. So in short, it just holds all the public resources for the application. This is actually a very important folder, and for example, if I want a new favicon, I'll just import it directly to here. We have the style folder, which I don't want to talk much about because we're going to be using Tailwind CSS for our development. It's just another way of writing CSS directly in the HTML. So we don't worry about this for now, but it is just basic CSS files. We have the pages folder, which is the most important folder of our Next.js application. This folder is responsible for the entire routing feature of the application. We have the index.js, that is the file we saw in the last video on the localhost web browser. We have the _app, that is to define the layout of the application. And then we have the APIs, that is just all the APIs for the application. So let's talk about how this actually flows and what happens when you run the development server or something. So when we run the application for the compiler reads this _app and returns the index.js component as the landing page for the application. So if, for example, we have different components, the application, we can just insert a component here, for example, or here, and then the application will read this before writing all this. I'll talk more about components and stuff like that in the further videos, but it's just to tell you guys that this is a component that we run that is going to be a landing page of the application. We will also add more pages in different videos, and I'll tell you guys everything that you need to know to get started creating some nice applications. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. In the next video we will look at components, as I mentioned, and how developers usually set up their development environment. For example, I will be adding some new folders and tell you guys how I structure my applications. Yeah, so thank you. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.